So the great wand off of 2016 is about coming to an end. I'm in Santa Cruz right now, and I can't wait to get out of here, head back to the mountains. I thought I'd give some final thoughts on some of the wands we tested. Unfortunately, Tom had to leave with his wands a little early, so I didn't get to play with the latest Devastators as much as possible. Q and his Mighty wand went home. But what I have left is a one-year-old Devastator wand that, after a little facelift, is still running well. I put new manifolds, some fresh jets, and still working on the original glide, original plumbing. This was something that Tom used to do in using just regular quarter-inch pressure hose, which you can see doesn't really hold up all that well. He no longer puts these 1/8 quick connects down here, rather up here. Not so sure they're needed at all, quick connects, as if you look at the new Interlink wand, there's no quick connects. It has no problem swiveling. Quite a bit different swivel design, different angle, so I'll let Tom decide on that. You can see on this Mach 15, the Mighty as well are using braided. I believe the Dang wand, which is out being used right now, what do you call it, the Thai Challenger, also uses braided. I do like that on the Mighty Bentley they are putting a rubber, I'm not sure if it's rubber vinyl coating over these steel braided hoses, because I know from experience on our Vortex that if you have anything rubbing against these and one of these strands breaks, the Teflon underneath is going to pop shortly thereafter. Doing some maintenance on this older Devastator, we discovered that some of these set screws are no longer serviceable. These merely hold the swivel to the inner sleeve and keep it attached on the other side, as well as the inside here. These are actually bearing access ports, so you can pull them out and grease them, replace the bearings down the line. But if this wand ever needed to have the head removed for servicing, at this point it's not coming off, particularly on this side right here, where you can see this swivel's been rubbing against it and under heavy use. You can see all the wear right there. And Tom and I have agreed that these should be Torx rather than Allens, because they're so thin-walled and so minute. If you ever pulled one of those out of there, which I highly recommend you do to keep anti-seize lubricant on there, there's only I don't know, three or four threads at best in there. So you people that have bought these style swivels, either from Tom or Tony, pull these out every few months and make sure there's anti-seize on there. And you should probably be pumping some grease into your bearing races. So anyways, Tom's got the nicest swivel. That's why Tony knocked it off, and that it doesn't rattle. The Mighty, all of Tony's other ones, and this new Interlink, as you can see, have too much flex in them. Some people like a lot of flex and bouncing around. Personally, it drives me nuts. I want as little movement as possible. I don't want to have to fight it with my right hand. I want to force it with my left, if that makes sense. When I'm ready for it to go around the corner, I'll tell it to do so. And until then, I want it to not move. And all that takes is a certain amount of rubber seal inside here to achieve that. And that periodically might need to be replaced as it wears, and you want to tighten it up. And that's why you're going to need to access in there. So keep these screws clean, lubricated, and maybe even tightened up. Believe it or not, that doesn't leak water. I have had to replace one. I believe that one, because it looks a little fresher, because the O-ring in there did fail. But Dynamite wand, bit higher maintenance than a rigid wand like this, which is the Sapphire Titanium, which I totally adore this wand. This thing, due to this triangulated design, not too big, it forces that air out in a screaming thunder. A bigger head like this, which you can see is very wide, I think the air kind of bounces around in there and gets confused. On a smaller truck mount, even more so. Same thing on this, on the Mach 15. Virtually unusable with a small truck mount, but you hook it to a Vortex. And this is actually, I'd never really used one of these. I got the Mach 12, which is extremely similar to this, which I love. But this big guy is more fitting for a bigger blower mount. And if you got someone that cleans a lot of commercial carpet, wide open area, doesn't need a swivel, I don't think you can go wrong with this Mach 15, only in that I would probably bring this manifold inwards, loosen these screws, you can see where they're at right now, push them in closer to the head, and bring them more to that relationship, maybe an inch or so away from the glide versus 2 inches. This little guy here too could probably use some jet extenders to get them closer. In fact, I have some 1/2 inch extenders. I think I'm going to put them on here because when we were cleaning a little higher PSI, there was water dangling around. Same thing here. I think there's too much distance here. Could be extended. These have internal stubby filters to act as filters in check valves so they don't drip. But those things are highly problematic in high heat situations. The springs are so thin, they just fall apart after a couple months. The Westpac style extenders are actually extenders, and they have sturdier springs, last longer, and can bring your jets where they should be, which is not 2 inches away from the glide. Speaking of glides, we got 4 very different glides here. This is a either Delrin or UHMW plastic. Right now it's brand new, so it's works fine. There's not a lot of contact area, but it is harder to push. The weight of this wand is tremendous. Feels like the 2 of these combined in use. After you go across half a room with this, you're about done. This is the lightest wand. I really like how this glide contours over the lip here of the opening of the wand, so there's no overspray, or I should say there's no vacuum leaking, and there's no side-to-side movement. A glide like this can move side to side, and you Pro-Chem titanium wand owners will know that you're always clinking on the edge of the glide to center it, and it's the same case on this wand. Certainly not on this one, which you can see is screwed in place. This one's screwed in place. So the movement to move to screwed in wands is a good one, in my opinion. This one's kind of cool because it's actually a 2-piece glide, and this is rare. There's very few of these out here, but this is a round profile PMF glide. Most that you'll see are flat. I think a round glide allows you to push the wand further out and bring it closer to your feet without losing contact. Also allows for better, or I should say, a more varied operator height usability. You don't have to be just one height as you do on a flat glide, which is, the operator's going to have to move his arms or lean over or something if it's not just right for him. And the shorter the wand, the more of a problem that is for taller operators, and can certainly make a wand virtually unusable if you got a flat opening that doesn't quite sit where you're at, or you end up with just a very short wand stroke. Wand like this, you could probably have a 5-foot stroke no matter how tall you are. So this thing is definitely a high production wand with a bigger truck mount. The 12-inch version is fantastic for 46 blowers and down, and again very similar to the Sapphire. Really the biggest difference is this is a 2-piece manifold. The Mach 12 is a 1-piece, and this has a 2-inch cuff. You can see how it's flared. The Mach 12 has a 1.5-inch cuff. Personally, I'd like to see Sapphire have PMF make this with a 1.5 inches and then come with an adapter so that wand users, smaller truck mount users, can do so without using some kind of goofy cup that's gonna cause air turbulence. You don't want to have air going in and out of different tube shapes. It always wants to go downward. You start with your truck with a 2.5, then go to a 2, and then a whip. You don't want to have these bulbs or bulges of vacuum hose or wand tubing to confuse the air. Air is like a good obedient child. It wants to be told what to do. What else can we comment on? You got Westpac valves, which are fine. Only negative I could say of the Westpac valve is you give this to a rookie, he's not going to know the difference between 1,000 psi or 1,500 or 150 psi. It all feels the same. This V800, which I've grown to love, is a little more expensive, but has a more realistic feel, I guess you could say, without having that heavy snap of some of the older wands, particularly the old Pro-Chem triggers. They were, when you got over like 300 psi, it was a snap, snap, and got kind of annoying. So this is, I guess this guy, you could say, has become my favorite valve. I also like the contoured trigger on there versus the rubber, which these are fine when they're new, but after a couple months they start loosening up and they eventually fall off, and you end up with a sharp edge on the trigger. So we certainly had a lot of fun this week trying all these out. I don't know. I don't think any of them are absolutely horrible wands. The Evolution, I'm not sure what's up with that, but that plastic head was just stuttering, as you saw in the other video, kind of made it unusable. And the weight of the interlink wand there just made it really tiring. Again, out of the swivel wands, I like the stiffness and the designed and polished feel of the Devastator rigid wands. I am in love with these sapphires, and I really like to try the 14-inch, but I don't think the 14-inch is quite right for my 370. And we have so many Pro-Chem tie wands here, I don't really need another 15-inch wand or a 14-inch wand. So I don't think I'll be keeping the Mach 12 or Mach 15. Sorry, I'm going to send that back, and I'm going to send this back. I had a nice talk with Mr. Warrington today, and he was very receptive to my critiquing, and hopefully they can do something to lighten this up. Maybe use a tie tube, thin out this head, and find a fix to the slot in this swivel. I'd like to see this swivel actually have some adjustability in there as far as the tension. Right now it's just on or off. It's either locked or it swivels loosely. I think it'd be really cool if you could dial it in to where it swiveled not so loosely. And what else? The Mighty Wand, had a lot of nice touches to it. I just didn't like the metal glide. Not that it didn't work, just felt it was a little unsafe around thresholds and whatnot. Sure, you can be careful, but Teflon is just so much nicer. And the non-adjustable play in the head, again, was kind of a downer, but it's a heck of a cleaner. I've seen some variability in their wand bends, and one of them I couldn't see what was going on in the port in it, but the Q's wand that we used, which was actually an older wand, I could certainly see it, so that was fine. But these windows, they seem kind of gimmicky. This one's clouded over right now due to condensation, but you actually learn to love these things. It's kind of nice. So in the end, I think my favorite wand would be this guy right here with an 1.5-inch tube and a tight swivel, which I don't think is undoable with what Tom has planned. I think you're going to see all kinds of wands with nice, tight, serviceable swivels on them rather shortly. So stay tuned, stay on Mikey's board. We'll always keep you up to date on all this cool nerdy stuff. And who knows, 1 year from now I'll probably be testing 6 all new wands. And feel free to ask questions on the board. And we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.